Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Friday the 26th of May. Okay, so looking at the euro dollar first, and as you can see from a daily perspective, we remain in this relatively tight range. Yesterday really didn't give us any clues to the direction, and nor today so far. Dropping down the time frames, you can see, well, it has had some sort of mini trends within this range, but it's not the easiest to see what's what a point in terms of direction it may run into. Of course, from a statistical point of view, we've got the probability of the daily pivot being hit in this range. And with this current move that I'm seeing in this alley, well, it could just run into the 21s, the 50 MA, and find resistance. Any breakthrough of that would see us running towards that daily pivot and maybe through. Which would just then see this sort of large oscillating movement continue. So that's what it's looking like from the upside. To the downside, if it breaks, there's a trend line between these two lows here. Could break that, run down towards yesterday's lows. That 200 MA would be an obvious sort of point from a 60-minute view. So nothing particularly clear there. Looking at cable, the pound dollar, and well, it's sold off through the Asian session quite strongly. We're back to what was the trend line that I just extended from this previous wedge pattern. It's with the 34 being so close below, it may drift off towards that, or maybe even the the monthly pivot that's below. Just looking, say, strong sell-off. Can't associate too much with that. Nothing absolutely obvious there. What I can see in terms of news, so just weakness of the pound. Heading at the moment towards the 240, 200. 60-minute point of view, that is almost a bit of divergence. Not quite come down and diverged here, so that may just see, as I said, it just runs back down towards that 240, 200. Untouched daily pivot above, but the trend here really continues with the lower highs, lower lows sort of pattern with these spikes. Any movement on the upside has been just spikes. It's been sold straight into, which suggests weakness may prevail. However, as I said, we've already sold through right down to S1, S2, so the range of this move may be a bit limited to the downside. Looking at dollar yen. Again, this bear flag still there. It's it ended up yesterday's bear flag I was looking at is a very minute bear flag, but there's little to grasp at in these markets. And when you look at this 4-hourly, it pretty much sums up lots of the price action at the moment is very range bound for long periods, and well, it seems to be trying to break out back down towards that 240, 200. That may come. Yesterday, you can see yesterday's just pure chop through much of the session. It had a little rally in the morning and then just chopped for the rest of the day, making it very difficult in terms of trading or choosing to trade anyway. And then, well, we've seen this sell-off through the Asian session, a little bit of the yen. Surprising, not surprising actually. I just realised inflation's picked up a little bit, so that would make sense. That was probably a bit of good news for the yen. That, as I said, could drift off a little bit further towards that 200, maybe a bit more. Okay, have a quick look at the Aussie dollar. It seems to be moving a little bit clearer than normal, mainly through the Asian session, of course, but. Sold off yesterday. Today, a bit of a continuation into this sell-off. It almost around about double topped yesterday, and it seems to be in a reasonable trend to the downside at the moment, breaking the prior low there, becoming bearish once again. Any move back to perhaps those 21 moving averages would provide resistance. For now, it does look bearish. It's already through its S1. Bias, say to the bearish side, is a stack of confluence and the different pivots at the lows here around about 74.06, which if it breaks down there may give it a bounce. Finally, the Canadian dollar. Canadian dollar has put a bit of reversal in here yesterday. Oil not holding up too well for it. OPEC data never really cheered the market too much from that perspective. And oil slipped back, and well, we're pushing back up with the Canadian dollar at the moment, or potential. A little bit of a drift off at the moment, short term. Just run back into that 34. Any move back? Well, there's a weekly pivot still untouched if it had enough oomph in it, but it's been lacking movement for large parts of the day, particularly our trading session. The oil, as the oil talks, etc., shifted it yesterday, but it's been sitting for long periods in sort of chop. Now it has got the daily pivot below that may just draw it down some more. Just come back to the bigger picture a moment, see what's going on. Yep, that's fine. It's got okay, so that may, to say, just drift it, cause it to come back towards the 34.57 area. Be interesting to see how it reacts to that. It's got the curly in 34, which will just suggest a bit of start of a change, and it may provide support if the 50 and the pivot doesn't. Okay, well, looks like it's going to come down to pivot as I'm talking here. It's very little in the way of points. Right, that's pretty much it. News-wise today, very insignificant. Core durable goods, well, there's G7 meetings, which may create some talk. We may get some speakers come from that. But other than that, core durable goods at 130, not a major mover, but often get quite a bit of volatility. And then there's the second reading of the GDP coming in, also at 130. So maybe with those two numbers coming out, we could maybe get a decent bit of volatility. We'll see. Okay, that's it for me. Have a great day. Bye for now.